Joe Messino, and
I'm Alisha Belack.
we're here from the world of wellness. This is the Weiner Wellness Week, number 103. 103 Wellness Weeks. How many have you been here for?
I have been here. This is my second Wellness Week.
I've been here for 103. So,
Are you saying
no, I'm
you're
not
old?
saying that. I'm not saying that. 5 a year. Do the math.
Okay.
Anyhow, so what are we here for today, folks? We're here to talk nutrition. We're here to talk lifestyle. We're here to talk about the things that you can do that you can control. Everything that goes into your mouth is number one, you can control that. And number two, the things that you do during your waking hours and non-waking hours. And some of us get more sleep than others.
Ugh, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, we do. I got great sleep last night. How about you?
Not so much.
Not so much. That's too bad.
No. That's what stress will do to you.
So, at the World of Wellness, of course, we have all the modalities here that can help with your lifestyle, help with your path to optimal health. And we're going to talk about a lot of them. And we're going to talk about nutrition and about food and supplementing your diet, because really, these are the things that you can control. And then we're going to show you at the next hour some of the non-invasive testing that we do to help that process along. And they're different. They're similar, but they're very different in what they show. And it gives us kind of like a roadmap of where you've been. And it helps us to guide you on how to get to where you want to be,
That's
right?
it. Yeah, absolutely. Something, the tools we have are just to fill in those gaps, okay? Kind of identify where there may be deficiencies.
Well, there's always deficiencies, right? We just got to find them.
Yep.
We got to find them. So, as Alisha is here as our resident functional nutritionist now, and give us an idea of some of the things in the short time you've been here that you've seen.
Oh, absolutely. It's been wonderful. I love the mentorship that I have, and the clients that I'm working with range from, I have a gentleman that he's dealing with some parasites. We all have parasites, but some can really wreak havoc.
Well, do you remember, Dr. Tracy Straub's litmus test, right?
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
She said, here's how you can find out if you have parasites. Take 2 fingers, place them on the underside of your wrist. If you feel a pulse, you have parasites.
That's it. Yep, that's it. So working with that gentleman, I got a client that's got RA. So we're really trying to, which is based off, it's an autoimmune disease, okay? And autoimmunity is inflammation. So we're working on her diet. We're working on her lifestyle. And I'm so happy to report that within the 2 weeks we've been working together, she's down 5 pounds. She's tracking her food. She has more energy to play with her grandkids. Like it's such good stuff. It's got.
So what do you mean by tracking your food?
Absolutely. It's important. Oftentimes we think we're eating well. So we forget the goldfish or the random foods we're just popping in our mouth because we're not thinking. Okay. So I do have my clients track what they're eating, and that is entailing writing it down. You can write it down. You can use an app, and it's just a great tool to identify. Oftentimes you're eating a healthy food like a pineapple or whatever it may be. But if that food is causing you symptoms, you can't piece it together until you identify. So that's why we track.
That's a great point, because I think one of the things that we do here that Alisha also does in her investigation is the KBMO food sensitivity report. Food sensitivities are an interesting thing because they're not full-blown allergic responses, right? It's not like if you're allergic to peanuts and you're near a peanut, you're going to know it. But these are more chemical responses that happen at the cellular level, and they kind of trigger other responses. So
Absolutely.
It starts a cascading event, right?
Yes. It could be a headache. It could be itchy skin. It could be watery eyes. So it's nice to have that test to really identify what's triggering.
And if you don't have a full blown allergic reaction, you just ignore it sometimes, right?
Right.
I mean, some people they the food comes up as in the red zone and they eat it on a daily basis. And then there's the catalyst. There's always a why, right? Always a why as to what's going on in your body, either good or bad.
Right.
So that's just one aspect of what we do with the testing here, the KBMO test. But we also and that is, of course, a a blood test, but it's only a finger prick, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we use the finger prick also to get your blood type if you don't know it. But let me give you a little hint. Know your blood type.
Right.
Okay, find out. And we have the little test kits here, but you can also get them at any pharmacy. You should know your blood type because it does influence certain things in your body. You know, when people ask me if the blood type diet is something that's real, I say, well, yes, to an extent, because if it wasn't, then requiring the blood type for our Scan test would not be necessary.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. For
Because
sure.
it does change the readings on how you absorb nutrients and how you retain toxins.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the Zyto, right? Now, we're going to show you these next hour, but we're just giving you a preview right now. So what about the Zyto?
Oh, the Zyto is great. It's another non-invasive test that we do. And basically, it uses galvanic skin response. So it's like a lie detector test.
For your whole body.
That's it. So it's going to be biocommunication, okay? And it's going to identify. It's going to help us identify. So you just use your hand, and you're going to put it on a device. And like Joe said, we'll show you here in a little bit. And it takes just a few minutes. And then what it'll do is identify where your body is out of balance, okay? It's going to identify what's out of balance and how we can bring it back into balance. What's fantastic is it really focuses on your body's core system, so like digestive system, your immune system, your hormonal system, and we can find ways to bring those back in balance through lifestyle and through supplementation.
Absolutely. So what we have is a well-rounded program because you have food sensitivity, and that's important. And then you have a Scan, which is going to show you tissue density.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that tissue density is not going to be affected by what you did yesterday. This is a long-term effect. Okay. This is what's accumulating over months and sometimes years.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Zyto, which is more of a recent snapshot.
Right.
It can be affected by the last couple of days, what you've done, what you've eaten, what you've been exposed to. So you take all three of those things, and now we got a full picture of what's going on. But it still has to start with what you put in your mouth.
Absolutely so. And I tell my clients, digestion actually begins in your brain, okay?
Not in your mouth?
It's those thoughts. It's those precursors to what is prompting you to eat that food.
Oh.
Are you stressed? Are you eating because you're happy? Is there an emotion attached to it? I'm working with a client right now, and she's dealing with some emotional eating. So we're really trying to work on her thoughts, her thought pattern, her mindset. So yeah, it does. Does that make sense?
Starts there. And then next, I think, is in the nasal cavity, right? Because you smell food before you ever taste it.
Yes.
Right? And then it gets into the saliva glands and they start to produce, which is why, I tell people all the time that the one thing we do in this country that no other country does as much as us, that destroys enzymes. And most people never get this answer right.
I'm going to say it's either one or two things.
Okay.
We're not chewing our food.
Okay.
Or we're eating on the go.
Yeah, that's true, but that's not it.
Okay. Tell me, what is it?
I even stumped our functional nutritionist. Phil, what do you think? Phil knows the answer. He's heard it enough times. Yes. Chewing gum.
Oh, okay.
Now let's think about that. Why? Because if your digestive process starts, it's nasal and then mouth, you start salivating and you're producing enzymes, right, in your saliva. When you're chewing gum, there's no food. Right.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people chew gum in place of food, which is even worse. But chewing gum as a habit, your body doesn't know that that's not food.
You're absolutely right.
So it starts making enzymes.
Yeah.
So you're using up enzymes on a non-food activity. So it's okay. Hey, look, if you're out at a restaurant, you want to chew some gum after a meal. Okay, then spit it out after a minute or two. But the point is, don't do it on as a habit or to replace food because you're actually destroying your enzymes. And what do we need those for?
Absolutely. We need those to break down food. A lot of my clients, goodness, they're taking PPIs, which is a proton pump inhibitor, okay, something like a Nexium, a Prilosec, and they're taking that to suppress the stomach acid because there's too much. Well, being on it for 30 some years, that is destroying your gut. You need those enzymes. It's just so important,
Unless, you want to take the advice of, Larry the Cable Guy, and take your little purple pill and eat whatever you want and look like Larry the Cable Guy.
Right,
okay?
right.
No, you don't want to do that, okay? These things are terrible. They are just disrupting the entire digestive process in the body. And that whole thing of, too much stomach acid. What about that?
Absolutely not. You can't have too much stomach acid. You need that stomach acid for sure.
You need it. Most of the time, it's the exact opposite.
Yep.
I can remember having discussions and arguments with doctors about this. And I would tell them, they said, what do you mean? Too much? That's impossible. And I was like, oh, guys, you got to go back to school.
Yeah.
You got to go back to school. But so it all starts with what you put in your mouth. So Alisha counsels people on their diet at first and foremost.
Absolutely.
It has to start there. Because even with nutritional supplementation, it has to supplement a diet, not replace it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, all these diets out there, are any of them any good?
I don't think so. It's balanced, people. I really focus on eating real food. Don't complicate it. No. Okay. It's simple, eat real food that's not processed, that's good quality, grass-fed beef, your organics. And just eat real food.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that people have to get away from is the clean 15 and the dirty dozen.
Yeah. It's all dirty.
It's all dirty. Yeah, just because they have less pesticides than others or genetically modified, circumstances doesn't mean that you should do that or eat them. Okay. You should approach your diet organically as much as you possibly can. There are times when you can't, when, you're just eating out, and we all do. Right. But what can you control? You can control what goes on in your house, in your kitchen.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to go organic.
Absolutely. So, and that Zyto, that's going to identify your pesticide consumption, because it's toxicity, people. It's building up in your bodies. It's the underlying cause for your headache. It's the underlying cause for other issues. So really, you gotta go pesticide free.
So if we go back to Dr. Tracy Straub, and I always quote Tracy a lot, and she says there's really only two things that are the cause of disease, and that's toxicity and deficiency. You can trace everything back to either one or both of those things. Either you're loaded with toxins, and that's going to cause
the
inflammation, everything from, any type of systemic inflammation up to and including cancer is going to be from toxicity and nutrient deficiency, because your body fights these things if it has the right nutrition. Everything that we need for optimal health is on this planet. Most of it's been adulterated
for sure
at this point. That's why it brings us back to then supplementation.
Right. Because we have those nutrient deficiencies because our soil is depleted. Okay. It's not like it once was. We eat processed food, and that leads to deficiencies.
Well, when that all happened with the soil, 1937.
Okay.
That's when Department of Agriculture first went to Congress and said, we have a problem. Minerals are depleted out of the soil. 1937. So what do you think they did?
Not a darn thing.
Nothing. Now, none of us, including me, were around in 1937. But just think about that. If it was that long ago, what do we have now?
Right.
And in 1937, they didn't have genetically modified foods.
Right.
So that complicates the issue even more. So now we know that the food supply is adulterated. We know that you have to be as picky as possible when you buy your food, when you cook your food, but you still have to supplement your diet.
Absolutely so.
Where do we start?
Absolutely so.
Where do you start?
Honestly, I start a variety of places. It really depends on the client. I love to start with a good probiotic. I love to start with a good multi, as we talked about. We're not getting what we need through our diet. So those are great places to start. Mineral rich. It's a liquid that we have, which is going to be fantastic for you to retain those minerals that you're not getting in your diet. So
That's right.
Those are three
Those
good
were the
places.
minerals are the first thing that were depleted from the soil, and then vitamins on top of that. So you've got to go with the basics, right? The basic things we should be getting from our food. That's where you start. So that's a good multivitamin mineral, good omega fats, good omega
that's
3s,
another one.
probiotics, and I have news for you. You know, you should be getting probiotics from your food.
Absolutely so.
Right? The original was soil-based, spore-based probiotics. Now we do have those here, but if in a perfect world, you'd get those from your food.
Right.
Okay. Antioxidants that you get from fruits and vegetables. Here, these are your basics.
Yep.
And then you look at more of a condition-specific situation after that, right?
Yeah, for sure. You know, the good probiotics I like to recommend, are going to be a good Greek yogurt. Okay, that's going to give us some good probiotics. Even kefir. And then if you're looking at your prebiotics, you want to focus on berries, asparagus. You know, you can supplement with food. I love fermented foods. You know, sauerkraut. You like sauerkraut,
I make my own.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's easy. All you got to do is get a head of cabbage, chop it up, squeeze it, get that water running, add some Himalayan pink salt, put it in a jar, cover it for 3 days, and you have sauerkraut.
Yeah,
That's
okay. Simple. Nice. It is that simple. We don't have to complicate things.
No, you don't. And, you know, it's funny you say that because, you know, these fermented foods, this is what people used to live on. You think in the winter, in a lot of these areas, years and hundreds of years ago, they didn't have refrigeration. So what did they do? They had to rely on fermented foods, salted foods.
Right.
You know, they had their natural ways of preserving it. And it all goes back to that of the earth. And that is the only diet that really anybody should follow.
Right.
OTE, of the earth. Right?
Yep.
If it walked, if it flew, if it swam, if it grew, it's okay to eat.
That's exactly it. That's what we like to believe here too. That's it.
And of course, you got to take it a step further, right? Like you mentioned, you got to go with grass-fed beef. You've got to go with pastured poultry and eggs, not free range. You know, none of these terms, these marketing terms. It's got to be pastured. That's what you want to look for. Wild caught. You know, I couldn't find wild caught fish in the frozen department or in the fresh department, especially. I was looking.
Yeah, you can't find it in fresh.
You can't find it in fresh. It's all farm raised.
Yeah, it's all farm.
I was looking for, you know, just some great fish and just didn't exist.
No.
You know, you got to really watch. And the ones that you have to watch the most, I think, are shrimp.
Yeah.
Because they can, you know, they hide it real tiny letters on the bottom of the package if you're buying frozen shrimp.
Yeah.
But you want it to be wild caught, not farm raised. Why? Well, you don't know what they're feeding them. You know, the environment they're in, the toxins are able to propagate.
Absolutely.
Right? So even with fish, you have to do that. Now, let me ask you a controversial question. What do you think about going vegan?
Oh, it is a controversial question. I do have some clients that are. Of course, it's going to be your preference. But ultimately, for me, it's not the best option because you're missing those nutrients from those animals. Okay. So it's critical. I see a lot of deficiencies with my clients that are vegan. I see deficiencies. You know, we see those in the
amino acids, B vitamins.
For sure, because protein, it's the building block, animal-based protein, the building block of our body.
Right.
So, you know, you're missing those key amino acids. But
so if someone is vegan, can they supplement their diet effectively enough?
Effectively enough, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
Can they supplement? Sure. Should they supplement? Yes, but not effectively enough. No.
Right. So balance, it's always still the key. And, you know, there's different reasons people go vegan, but, you know, I mean, that's fine. But you have to make sure that you're giving your body the nutrients it needs. You know, you can go vegan and be very unhealthy.
Absolutely.
French fries and beer. That's vegan.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because we know French fries aren't cooked in animal fat anymore. They're cooked in hydrogenated vegetable oils.
Yeah. And two, it's at the cellular level. You know, people think they are feeling good, they look good, but internally they're not doing so good.
Right.
You know?
Right. So, you know, it's again, it's a matter of preference, but you have choices you can make. And you have to make sure that you compensate for the choices that you make.
For sure.
You know, like dairy, for example. My God. I mean, for how many decades was that a staple of the American diet?
Absolutely so. You got to have your cup of milk with dinner.
Oh, yeah. Milk does a body good. I can still remember the campaign.
Absolutely so. Right? Build strong bones.
Build strong bones. Yeah, got to have that glass of milk. Yeah. And add it to that cereal that's nothing but sugar and cardboard, like Dr. Weiner used to say.
Right.
But, you know, yeah, milk, the dairy. I mean, how do you do it? What if you like it? Well, you got to, number one, go organic.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. If you go organic, at least it's not filled with
the hormones
and antibiotics, right? That's number one.
It's inflammatory, though.
It is.
You know, it's inflammatory.
It is inflammatory.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful, and you have to, you know, make choices, limit it as you can.
Yeah.
I know for me, cooking as much as I do, we used to always use Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. That's the king of cheeses, but it's still dairy.
Right.
And so a lot of times what we do is substitute Pecorino Romano,
Okay.
which is sheep's milk cheese.
I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know it. No. Can you tell who cooks and who doesn't?
You should be watching my cooking show.
Clearly, I'm missing out.
Is it time for a shameless plug, Phil?
Let's do it.
Yes, there's this amazing cooking show on YouTube called Cooking with Papa. Okay, and you can find it. That's me and my granddaughter, and we're cooking Italian organic recipes. And I think we're in our 7th season. So
that's fantastic. That's awesome.
We started when she was 3. She's the chef now. I'm the assistant.
Okay,
It started out the other way. Now it's all reversed. But yeah, you can substitute. Pecorino Romano is a great cheese, and it's not dairy.
Nice.
So these are things you can do.
Right. And again, it's just being aware, and that's my job.
How about flour? How much of a culprit is flour in our diet?
It's everywhere. Absolutely. So I feel a good alternative would be an almond-based flour. Okay. Yeah.
Cassava flour is a good one.
Okay.
That's kind of one of those ones that you can substitute, like measure for measure, when you're doing baking and things like that, And look, I love pasta, right? But I will only buy organic imported pasta.
Right.
As long as it's not American wheat. America's got a lot of great things, but wheat's not one
Absolutely
of them.
Not. The gluten is it's so bad for us. Even if you are not having a reaction to it internally, it's ultimately causing leaky gut. It's ultimately causing a lot of symptoms, whether it's your headache, whether it's your bloatedness. It really, I like to think of, my small intestines as like a little shaggy rug. And when I'm eating that gluten,
it clumps up.
That's it.
That's a wonderful thought. I have to keep that in mind.
It's inflammatory. So we really try and eliminate that. And oftentimes too, it's not forever. We can eliminate these things for a little bit, but I guarantee you, when you're feeling better, you don't want to go back to it.
You don't crave it. You don't want it. Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people say, why do we have a gluten problem now and we didn't have one 100 years ago? Well, that's because the wheat wasn't genetically modified and saturated with glyphosate 100 years ago.
Right.
So then the question really remains, do we have a gluten problem or do we have a wheat problem? And it's the wheat itself, because there's always been gluten in wheat, but now it's a Franken wheat, basically.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And that's why we're having all these problems. So get something that's organic. If you're going to have to use flour, make sure it's organic. Or get something, if you're buying pasta, make sure it's imported pasta.
Right.
Because I don't know about you, but I've heard many cases of people, even with full-blown celiac, can go to Europe and eat bread.
Yep, absolutely so.
Right?
Yeah, I have heard that for sure.
Why is that?
Right.
Because their wheat is not adulterated.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Yep.
So we covered dairy, we covered wheat, and we covered grass-fed proteins and pastured poultry. What about the S word?
Oh, could it be?
Could it be?
Is it?
Sugar?
Sugar.
Look at it cross out there.
That's it. Guys, it's
sugar.
So addictive. You may have heard or read the studies. It's just as addictive as cocaine,
or
right?
maybe worse.
We heard it. Yeah, worse for sure.
Cocaine or sugar? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, it's so addictive. It's so addictive, and
why?
It's so because it communicates with the transmitters in your brain. Okay, and it turns them on, and you just crave more. You want more
now,
and you want more.
Are we talking about a great organic cherry or grape?
Oh gosh, no. Those are such great alternatives if you're craving something sweet. Go to a fruit, okay? Because you're going to get that craving diminished, and then you're also going to get phytonutrients, okay?
Exactly. We're talking about refined sugars, right? Just like refined flours.
Yes.
And it was the governor himself who coined the phrase "white death," and that's refined flour and sugar. Yeah,
it is.
So these are the culprits, and you know why? Because it's not nature.
Right.
It's something made in a factory. And we were talking here with some of the guests, and they were asking me, well, what's the difference, or is there a difference between partially hydrogenated and hydrogenated? And I said, yeah, they're both bad.
Right.
One's worse than the other.
Right. Bad.
They're both bad. Hydrogenation is a process done in a factory that changes a natural substance into an unnatural preservative. Simple as that. And it's in every packaged food out there. If you're not reading your labels, you're eating poison.
Right.
On a regular basis.
It wreaks havoc, guys, on your blood sugar. Okay. I've got a kiddo, and we're not having cereal for breakfast. Okay. First ingredient, sugar. Okay. They're wondering why kiddos in school have a hard time sitting down or concentrating. Oftentimes, it's what they're eating for breakfast. It's garbage.
So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
When you are talking with your clients,
yeah.
Do you break it down that far into their foods? Do you
Absolutely
really?
so.
And for the family, okay.
Absolutely
and
so.
If you're working with an adult who has kids, do you bring them into the picture as well?
You know what? Honestly, one of my clients is a child, and he was suffering with some ADHD. Okay. And the parents did not want to put him on medication. And so we looked at his diet, and we saw things. He's an athlete. We saw things like Gatorade. So we were just looking at a little bit of the things that they were doing, and we just switched them. I gave him other suggestions, but absolutely so. It's important. And again, my job is to empower. My job is to educate. The decision ultimately is going to be up to you.
So let's talk about Gatorade for a second. Now, here's another example of a good thing gone bad. They needed it was developed in Florida, right? The Florida Gators, right? And it was to help them hydrate because they were in pre-camp, right? In the summer trying to do football camp, and they were dehydrated. So they needed electrolytes. So they developed this. But then, of course, it went to mass production, and now it's all chemicals and sugar.
Right, and the dyes.
And all of that. Okay, so it's a good thing gone bad. But let's go back to Dr. Tracy again. Boy, I'm giving her big plugs.
I know.
Today,
we love you, Dr. Tracy. You're absolutely fantastic.
Because you know what she does? She'll buy a Gatorade bottle, dump it down the sink, and fill it with Pro Oranges.
That's it. I took that tip, but we were doing that too.
And give that to her kid to take to the field he looks like he's drinking Gatorade like his buddies.
That's it. That's
and
exactly
doesn't have to explain that he doesn't drink that stuff.
Right,
okay?
right.
These are great little tips that you can do. And back to the Pro Colors for a second. Everybody talks about hydration, right? You even tell me I'm not hydrated enough, but well, we'll see about that.
Coffee. You like your coffee.
I like my coffee, but I get a lot of hydration. But the best thing you can do is fortify your water, right? If you're going to drink water, and you have to drink water, and it's got to be pure, and it can't be tap water. Okay, we're not going to have time to get into that. Maybe not. But why not fortify it? The Pro Colors are a great way to fortify your water. Use the different kinds. There's reds, oranges, purples, greens. Use a different one every month. But fortify your water. That way you're getting the phytonutrients. You're getting additional nutrients. Each one of them has a very specific, condition-specific type of formulation along with the fruits and vegetables.
Right.
Okay. And they're freeze-dried fruits and vegetables. There's nothing added, no added sugars. They're pesticide and herbicide free. Okay. And people always ask, is it certified organic? I say, no, it's better than organic. It's certified or pesticide free and herbicide free. So you can fortify your water for your kids. What's a great thing to do in the summertime with the Pro Colors?
Well, I was going to say back to hydration. We love coconut water in our house.
Oh, well, yeah. Coconut water is great too.
So that's a good
But
option.
you can make ice cubes with the Pro Colors.
Yeah.
You can make popsicles with the Pro Colors.
Yeah.
Okay, instead
so
of
you can
buying
get creative.
Those chemical-laden ones in the store and filled with sugar.
Right.
So, and we do address families here. And that's why with Nutritional Frontiers, we have more powders, chewables, and liquids than any other professional label in this channel. And that's so that it can be so diverse. So, the delivery method is important. And when we talk about kids, you talked about probiotics. My God, probiotics for kids is one of the single most important things that you can do as a family.
And quality is going to matter, though. When you're getting your supplements from the big box stores, they're going to be cheap, but that's cheap in a lot of ways. Okay. You don't want those extra ingredients and fillers in your supplements.
No. And you can't go in there and you can't say, oh, can I get a certificate of analysis for this formula? Because they don't have them.
They don't.
But you can here.
Yes.
And that's the difference. That's why you go here and not a big box store for your supplementation. These are formulations that are all professional grade. And they've been around a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And Nutritional Frontiers is probably the youngest of them all. But we've been around for
Long
15
time.
years.
Yeah.
So, okay. So it's just a matter of quality, like you said.
For sure.
So delivery methods, quality of the nutrients, not to mention therapeutic levels of nutrients in these formulations. So earlier we talked about the original probiotic being a soil-based probiotic that you got from the ground when you grew your fruits and vegetables. Well, Probzyme does have a spore-based probiotic, okay, called Lactospore, and it is the original probiotic. Now, there's two other places where everybody should get probiotics, and that's when you're born.
Absolutely. The birth canal.
The birth
we
canal.
are I was just talking about this with a client a few minutes ago.
Really? Oh, great.
We C-section all the time.
All the time.
Oh, let me schedule my birth. You're missing out.
And so what is that? And is anyone telling them that this is happening?
No, they're not. No. They're not informed. So they have no idea the good bacteria they're missing from passing the birth canal.
That's right. So the immune system, I'm sure most people know now, the immune system is housed in your gut, right? And that immune system is developed from birth.
Yes.
And you get the two major components of that immune system at birth and immediately after. As Alisha said, the first one, you get the lactobacillus from the birth canal, the vaginal canal. Then you get the bifidobacterium from the breast milk.
Right, right.
And we talk to people all the time. I was just down in somewhere in Florida.
Yeah, I was here in Florida.
Yeah, I was in Florida. I was trying to think exactly where. But and we were talking to we were supposed to meet with a doctor. The doctor wasn't available. We're talking with the receptionist. And just in passing, I said, "So let me ask you, how do you sleep?" And she, what her answer was? "I have a 6-year-old."
Yeah.
So I said, "Okay, so you don't." She goes, "Right." I said, "Why?" "Well, it's stomach issues." I said,
okay.
I said, "Do you mind if I ask you a couple more questions?"
Yeah.
She goes, "No, go right ahead." I said, "Did you have your son natural or cesarean?" She said, "Cesarean."
Yeah.
I said, "Did you nurse your boy?" She said, "For about 48 hours, then I couldn't."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, well, let me tell you what's going on. Your son has an immune system that is completely underactive and underdeveloped because it didn't get its foundation.
Right.
So I'm not going to give something to her, but what I wanted to do is have her give probiotics to her son and help him get his digestive system in order, have him have a better sleep life, and then she
passes off to
gets
her.
a better sleep life.
That's one of the questions that's in my assessment is, how were you born? And
How
again,
were you born? How many times?
That's it. And again, because it matters, it's part of your story, and then it helps me determine what's going to be a good fit for you, and it helps me make sense of it.
Do people know how they were born?
Oh, they do.
Do they?
Yeah,
okay.
The majority of people do. Yeah.
I mean, because my generation, we were all born naturally, but
but they do.
We weren't even in the hospital. I don't think.
No, and to a lot of them, piecing it together, it makes sense to them for sure. So. It's all education.
So then we take them through food, we take them through choices, how to prepare, how to buy, all of those things, and then you get down to supplementation. Now, do you do your supplementation with or without the tests that we're going to talk about later?
Yeah,
based just on
absolutely,
their lifestyle,
absolutely, right? Because you can get a lot of it based off of their lifestyle. You can tell a lot from a client based off if they're sleeping, what they're eating, and are they eliminating. Okay.
Oh, that's a big one. It's one of the foundations,
it is,
right?
It is. So, that's part of your detoxification system. So absolutely, we can get a protocol with them, not having those testing, but those testing it's really going to make it come all together.
And what does the medical industry do? Oh, well, you think you need a colonic, or you need a colonoscopy, or you need this. Well, you know what? It's just a simple question.
Yeah.
How often do you move your bowels?
Right.
And I think it all came together a few years back when the former attorney general was talking about this. You know who I mean?
No.
Oprah, remember when she was doing this? She started talking when she started Surgeon General. I meant Surgeon General, not Attorney General.
Okay.
When Oprah was the Surgeon General of the United States, she said it was okay to talk about poop. Then everybody started talking about it.
Right.
So thank you, Oprah. But yes, it is okay to talk about. Why? Because
Absolutely.
it's natural.
It's natural.
You come out of the womb pooping.
Yeah.
Okay, come on. It's natural.
Right.
And Dr. Weiner had a philosophy I thought was great. I mean, and I wonder how many people actually do this. He said, you should move your bowels for every meal you had the day before. So if you ate 2 meals the day before, you should have 2 bowel movements. If you ate 3, you should have 3. If you had 1, you should have 1. So, but what's happening is complete and total.
Oh, it's the complete opposite. I'll ask my clients, are you moving your bowels? And they'll say, yeah, I'm normal. Well, what is normal? I'm going to back it up. Yeah, I'm like a detective backing it up. But no, it's not normal to be constipated. It's not normal to be bloated. And we've really accepted this. It's just, yeah, that's how I feel.
We've accepted it because you know why? We can go get some.
That's it.
Yeah, stuff at the pharmacy.
Right.
Take care of it.
Right. And that's just putting a Band-Aid on it, people. You know?
And then I got to bring this up too because I see these commercials and they drive me crazy. But this one, you can always tell when I start yelling at the TV. And I know it's not going to listen to me, but I yell at it anyway.
I'm not watching TV with you.
No, but. This one commercial comes on and she goes, in the last year, I've had 8 UTIs.
What?
8?
Yeah. 8?
8?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Right.
And what are you not doing?
What are you not doing?
You need to go see a nutritionist.
Yeah,
you go to see someone right away.
Absolutely do. You absolutely do. Because again, it's not normal.
No, it's not normal.
No, it's not.
So movement, but now it's also, so you have bowel movement it's not just the movement itself, but there are different kinds. How it looks, right?
Absolutely. So that can really tell me if you're absorbing your nutrients or not.
Or if you're constipated.
Even
if you're moving your bowels, you can still be constipated. How about hydrated?
Right. You can tell by the way the stool looks. And in fact, I have my clients track their food, their mood, and their poop.
Track your food, mood, and poop.
Yeah.
That sounds like a slogan.
It tells a lot. It tells a lot. And it's just really eye-opening. And again, it's a tool that we could use, clearly non-invasive, but it's a way to identify deficiencies.
Yeah. And, it's almost like a stigma has come on, over moving your bowels. I think with kids and, and they it's like, when do you do it?
They're embarrassed
to actually do this natural process.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody does it.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, all right. So there's another form of elimination other than moving your bowels, and that's urination. Right. And as well as sweating, as well as menstruation and respiration. These are all detoxification methods, right?
Yes.
Breathing is a detoxification method. Sweating is. I heard, I think it was Dr. Ross talking about sauna.
Yeah.
Right?
The difference
and how
between.
important it is for that for you to sweat. But, urination is another thing, right?
For sure.
And now how about, I know a common issue that we hear as people get older is urinating overnight, right? And having to get up to pee. We have a different philosophy for that, don't we? We want to make sure that you're in a deep REM sleep, because most of the time, and I got to go back to Dr. Tracy again. She said, most of the time, guys, you're not getting up because you have to pee.
Yeah.
You have to pee because you got up, because you woke up. Okay. When see that response? That's what happens. When you think about that, okay? Because if you are in a deep REM sleep, what happens to your body functions? They slow down.
They heal. They repair.
Heal, and they shut down. You don't have to do that.
Right.
Once you wake up, then your body says, well, since you're up.
I might as well go to the bathroom.
Exactly. So let's go back to sleep for a second. Let's talk about sleep.
Absolutely so.
Okay. So I've been doing a lot of research on sleep, and I see that, it's this 6 to 8 hours is the range. 7's around a sweet spot.
7's the sweet spot.
For most adults. How many adults that you talk to are getting that kind of sleep?
Not a lot. I mean, people are running thin. Usually most of my clients are ranging between like 5 to 6 hours of sleep, and it contributes to so much, guys. Your brain fog, it impedes your digestion. There's just so many reasons.
Oh, there's so many things. You don't make growth hormone if you don't get into a REM
You're not
sleep.
making that HGH, yeah.
And from growth hormone, you make all your other hormones.
Right,
okay?
right.
So, we have this huge problem, this low T issue going on in this country, which, of course, was caused by the medical industry itself and the cosmetology industry, both. Because you have sunscreen, you have all these
The xenoestrogens.
Xenoestrogens, and you have everybody taking cholesterol lowering drugs, which you can't make you can't make testosterone without cholesterol.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have a problem there.
They don't tell you that,
No,
though.
they don't tell you that.
Or take this.
They don't tell you. But all of these things happen when you sleep. And, one of the worst things you remember probably in school, cramming for a test, right?
Gosh,
Doing an all-nighter.
Yeah.
Phil pulled those all-nighters.
Phil did those.
Yeah, he did. Hey, Phil just graduated, boy. But he pulled a few all-nighters. And some of them you were actually studying, huh? But we've all done that. So, but the thing is, the memory switch in your brain doesn't get triggered unless you're in a REM sleep. So everything you memorized that night before,
it's gone shortly after that test.
Shortly after that test, that's gone.
That's
it. There's so many studies on sleep. There's not a single psychological disorder that is not accompanied by a sleep disorder.
Right.
Oh, there's so many things.
Right.
Surgeons, if they get less than 6 hours sleep, their error rate goes up 170%.
Wow.
Incredible.
Huge.
Okay. We talk about hormone production.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a study that says if you get less than 5 hours of sleep,
production.
No testosterone, small testicles, and everything comes from there.
That's
right?
it. Fertility issues.
Everything. Fertility's going down. All of those things. Mm-hmm. You need 7 hours of sleep a night. And that has to be a good sleep. Mm-hmm. Right. Another thing about sleep is sedation is not sleep.
Right. Ambien.
Right. Ambien.
I said it.
Yes, these are not sleep. It's knocking you out. Sedation is not sleep. Just keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. When you get knocked out artificially, you're not in a REM sleep. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's why people wake up from sedation so groggy. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what do we do here? Well, of course, Alisha works with you for lifestyle.
Right.
Number one, there's all kinds of things that interrupt your sleep, like blue lights.
Oh, goodness.
Right? Yep. Like everything, this is a blue light.
Addictive. People are addicted to their phones,
Everything. Now, your phones and your iPads, they have a blue light blocker right on them. Yeah. So find that in the settings and activate it.
Right.
But if you're watching a screen, whether it's a flat screen TV or your phone or a tablet before bed, that's blue light, and that's interfering with melatonin.
Absolutely
production,
so. Right. And I've got clients that I need to watch the TV to fall asleep.
Yeah.
That's a funny one.
That's a good one. Yeah, I know. But we've all done it. At times we've all done it. So there's really two aspects to sleep. There's falling asleep and there's staying asleep.
Right.
Now, right back to that thing about getting up to pee. This is related to that, okay? Because it seems to me from the people we talk to that the bigger problem is staying asleep. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So staying asleep. And what is that? Well, that's the mind racing. That's not the ability to shut down your mind so that you can relax. So we address it here, supplement-wise, with a formula called Sleep Time. And Sleep Time is unique in that it addresses both aspects of sleep, helping you fall asleep and helping you stay asleep, which is usually the more important of the two.
Right,
okay?
right.
And the nice thing about the nutrition, and we talk about this all the time, but the biggest difference between allopathic medicine and functional medicine is that the allopathic is drug centered. And when you have an artificial chemical taking the place of a function in the body, that function eventually shuts down. And then you come to rely solely on the drug. With functional medicine, we supply the nutrients to enhance the function
of the body
and not replace it.
Right.
And then over time, you need less nutrients because it's now working at a higher level. So it's a complete total opposites here. Functional medicine, allopathic medicine, total opposites. And we get a lot of people that come in that are doing both.
Right, right.
And that's okay because there's a time and a place. Integrative healthcare is very important. When you see people, do you talk with them about what prescriptions or over-the-counters they're actually on?
Yes, absolutely. Because again, my job is to fill the gaps in between those visits, oftentimes from their provider. So yeah, we're talking about those things back in regards to sleep techniques. So whether we're talking about even stress, so modifications, things like deep breathing, just make things, even your sheets, your bedding, all of that is so important.
And what you wash them in.
Right.
Right? Because if you're washing them in these chemicals,
yes.
you're inhaling them all night long.
Right. So just a vicious cycle. You're doing the endocrine disruptors because it's the toxic chemicals getting absorbed into your skin, the largest organ. So we really address all of it, and it doesn't need to be a big change all at once, but just a little bit.
Yeah,
and
then that could be a little intimidating.
It's overwhelming for sure, but if you're making small changes, it is ultimately going to make a big difference.
Right, and that's where you just got to take that first step.
You do,
right?
Yeah,
first
you
step,
do.
You know what that first step is? Come in and make an appointment with Alisha.
That's it.
That's the first step.
Yes.
Give us a call, 412-922-9355. Make your appointment with Alisha. Her schedule's been filling up fast.
Yes, it's been getting busy. It's fantastic. I love it because people want to be empowered. People want to feel better, and ultimately that's going to be up to you.
And then it's really all about energy. I don't know if you can feel it, but I can feel it. Do you feel this energy here? This is energy. This is positive energy.
So passionate about it. I love it. I love helping people.
Exactly. That's why you fit in so well here. We are all passionate about health.
That's it.
And, it's got to start there. You got to start with how you approach it.
Right.
And I guess, everybody's exposed to the media and the commercials and the foods and the drive-thrus and all that crap. You got to have something to balance that.
Yeah, you
right?
absolutely do. Yeah. You absolutely do.
And you know what? And we've been talking about the 80-20 rule forever. I mean, there's nothing wrong with every once in a while going out and having a good mushroom cheesesteak.
No, having some cake or, having...
See, I go more for the fat and salt than the sugar. I don't have a sweet... That's one of the things people hate about me is I have no sweet tooth.
Oh, yeah. I do have a sweet tooth. I do. So, I'm going to have that cake sometimes, but I'm going to have a little bit of the cake. I don't need to have all of the cake.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what else you can do? Support your local stores and farmers, right? Because if I want pie, I go to my local farmers market. They bake it right there on the spot.
Right.
I know it's not going through any massive processing, right? I know the ingredients. It's fruit from their farm. And they're hot when you go to pick it up. They're still warm in the pot.
Good.
Oh, so good. So support these people. Support your farmers markets, right?
Right.
You want locally grown as often as you possibly can.
Yes.
And many times locally grown is even more important than organic because it's fresh.
Right.
And the nutrient content is still high.
Right. I love summertime for that reason. There's so many farmers markets that you can hit up and try different foods, or even a community supported agriculture, which is a CSA. So there's ways. There's ways to get healthier food.
So what we're going to do next in the next hour is we're going to show you how we can refine your supplement protocol. And we do that through the two different types of tests that we do here, the Oligo scan and the Zyto scan. So those will help us refine exactly what you need nutritionally, what's going on with toxins and what's going on with deficiencies in your body. So we will be back, Alisha and I, in the next hour, and we'll give you a rundown on these amazing non-invasive tests to further your path to optimal health.
Sounds good.
Great.